announcement. I went and I found myself a husband. I'm sorry, I don't know how to make that announcement without just being the most awkward person. A couple of years ago, when I first started this channel, like 2 years ago, I talked about me overcoming some fears in dating and romance and my relationships, and I've kind of let you guys in on my growth journey in relationships and dating along the way, and so I'm really excited to make today's video to update you, I guess, on where I am in that journey and what it's like to be in love and to be completely changing my life again. I want to sit down and have a little girly chat with you, because I know that there's other people that have experienced similar roadblocks in dating that I have, and I would love to speak to that. So the first video that I did was overcoming this fear of being single. At the time, I had come out of a season of probably like several years of back-to-back relationships, and none of them very long relationships, but during that time I was always talking with someone, always kind of dating someone, interested in someone. And when I did that first video, I really talked about, okay, how do I just let myself be single and not be looking and not be on the hunt, I guess. Which honestly, looking back now, I don't even know if that season was necessarily a bad thing, because I think you should put yourself out there and be open. But I think the bad thing was I was so afraid that if I didn't put myself out there and if I didn't be open and be at bars and parties and in places where I would be noticed, I was afraid that I was just going to be single forever. And I think that there is a lot of truth in being open and having an open heart, but I was just doing it in a way that didn't really feel genuine to me and wasn't giving me the results that I was wanting. I was dating these guys that were just kind of immersed in hookup culture, and I was feeling rejected all the time, and I was feeling like I was too much and not enough all at the same time, and like I couldn't be myself. And all throughout my 20s and all throughout my teens, I've just had issues with having success in relationship and dating. I think that there's some people that are just more natural at it and some people that aren't. And guess which one I am? I've just never been natural in the area of putting myself out there, being open, being romantic. So I think that when I was going through that season of always talking to someone, kind of back-to-back relationships, I felt like the only way that I knew how to do it was by going to a bar and getting really drunk, just because it was painfully awkward in any other way. And so I was like, well, if I'm a little bit drunk, then it won't be as awkward. Turns out that wasn't actually true. But at the time, that's just what I did. So coming out of that season, I still had the same fears, still had the same hesitations, same hang-ups. I just took that time to be alone, be by myself, and not date. I originally wanted to do 6 months of just not dating, not talking to anyone, not anything. And then that turned into a year, I think a little bit more than a year actually. And even after that, it was like a year and a half or so, I think I kind of started to put myself out there a little bit and go on a couple dates, but it was just different. It was totally different. It felt like I knew who I was, I knew what I wanted, I didn't need to be in a relationship. It felt like I was looking for something more long-term, not like the validation of a short-term thing. And also last summer, I took a class at my church on being single, which we talked about this in the class too. Being a part of like a singles ministry or a singles group, it just feels cringy. I don't know why. And we talked about that in the group. Everyone was like, this just feels a little cringy, but also at the same time, I feel like it's good. So in that class, we went through the different parts of loneliness and identity and sexuality and how God fits into all of that, and how we let go of this, okay, I'll be complete when I'm married. I'll be happy when I am in a relationship, when I'm a mom, or, you know, whatever. Like, actually embracing if I was single forever, if I was never to marry, never to become a mom, never to have that cookie cutter picket fence, that I still have a place in the kingdom, I still have a place in the church, I still have a place in the world, in my family, I still have an irreplaceable role that is truly and uniquely mine, regardless of if I marry or not. And within that, we kind of talked about marriage and how we're told by society that, I think especially for women, that if a man is not in love with you, and if a man is not pursuing you and wanting to marry you and wanting to settle down with you, that somehow you're less of a woman, that you're less feminine, that you're less chosen. And that was such a lie. And the truth is that my story is unique and individual, whether I'm in a marriage or not. And that doesn't change. Even now, like, even though I am getting married, it doesn't change the fact that my relationship with God and my role in the kingdom and my role in this world is still unique. And I'm going to be a partner with someone, and there is a unity in that, and there is a oneness in that, but it doesn't change the fact that I have my unique role. And I don't know, something about that took the pressure off of dating and relationships so much, because I wasn't defined by it. It didn't hold the weight that it did before. Before, it held this weight of all my validation, all my identity, whether I was feminine or not, whether I was beautiful or not, or chosen or not. And that was just way too much pressure. And so I felt like I just avoided boys or men like the plague. It just felt like I put up this wall and either put up a wall and push them away. Even like my body language would just kind of like shift away. Like if a man was here, I would just kind of and just kind of do my own thing over here. And I was just awkward. And even if someone was trying to like hit on me, like every ounce of me rejected it. And even in those seasons when I was dating a lot, it was, the real me was still rejecting it. I was just kind of putting on something different and presenting something different in order to still get that kind of shallow validation, but I was still rejecting it just as much. Where seeing marriage differently, seeing relationships differently as something that didn't hold as much weight on my identity, it made it so much more approachable to me. It made it so much more doable to me, realizing that I don't have to be this perfect person that the man falls in love with and is swept off his feet and I'm swept off my feet, and I don't have to be this perfect person, but also he doesn't have to be this perfect person. He doesn't have to be that perfect King David example of Jesus. Like, he can be learning too. He can still be an imperfect human that is growing and learning. And I also really feel like letting go of the concept of the soulmate thing, that we all have a soulmate and there's one person and it can only be that one person. I think that's BS. I really think a lot of it comes down to if you have the same goal and direction in your life, like wanting the same kind of lifestyle, and if you have the same foundation in Christ or what you believe, your worldview, I think politics fit into that. I think having some kind of attraction is important. You don't want to just grin and bear it, because I did try that. I was in, not a relationship, but I kind of dated someone before the man that I'm gonna marry now, and it just felt like every part of me wanted to reject it. But I kept saying, like, you know, he's a good man and he has a good heart, we have a good friendship, this should work, maybe I'm just too shallow, all these things. And I'm so glad that I ended that relationship, not even a relationship, but ended that period of dating, because now I'm with a man that I really love and am attracted to also, and that guy is with someone that he's really attracted to and that he really loves, and they seem to be doing really great. And so I do think that attraction is a big part of it. Sorry, a chicken is laying an egg right now and she's being quite noisy. I tried to turn off the camera to have her finish, but she's just keep going, so we're gonna have to deal with the chicken noises. Anyways, I just think that I've learned a lot about relationships, and so I was at a really good place of just fully embracing being single and kind of embracing, what if I did just live in this little cottage for a long time, and if I was just involved in my friends' kids' lives and my nieces and nephews, and I don't know, like, I was just embracing this lifestyle, and creativity was flowing out, and then I met Marcus, my betrothed. I met him through a mutual friend. He saw some pictures of me on social media, and actually I posted a picture of me getting peed on by a piglet that I got last fall, and he was like, that's the girl for me. So he slid in the DMs and asked me if I wanted to go on a date with him. I didn't know who this person was, and so I of course Instagram stalked him, and I was like, well, we have the same life, it looks like. His Instagram looks just like my Instagram, so that's good. And I saw that he was mutual friends with a friend of mine, and which is where he originally saw me, and so I just decided, you know what, there's nothing to lose here. I want to have an open heart. I want to receive whatever God is wanting to give in my life, which means I have to be open to it all. And so I went on a date with him, and I just immediately felt this deep sense of peace being with him. And I mean, within the first 30 seconds of our date, I totally instantly thought, like, man, if this guy's into this, if he likes me, this really could work. This could be the one. I definitely thought that. I couldn't read him very well. I didn't know what he was thinking, how he felt, but I was feeling good about it even the first night. He was kind. That was one thing that I noticed about him, was he naturally had very kind eyes and a kind disposition and a quiet confidence about him. And honestly, since then it was kind of a whirlwind. And I think it was like 10 days after meeting each other, I knew that, I mean, actually, I think he told me first that he felt like this was it. And I remember thinking, like, you know, this really should freak me out. But I think he's right. And so I felt like that was like such a sign that it was so serious so fast, and that it didn't feel like scary, it didn't feel like wrong. We just really fell for each other. And I think because we were so feeling so good about it, I think we just ripped the band-aid off of, you know, we don't want to waste each other's time. If this isn't going to work, we should find out now. So let's ask all the questions. Let's meet whoever we need to meet. Let's talk about whatever we need to talk about. Get everything out on the table and be brutally honest about everything and just see if it works. And if it totally collapsed, then so be it. Better to collapse now than 5 years down the road. So that's what we did. And then last month, he proposed. We went fishing with my family, my parents and my grandparents, and we were on my grandpa's boat, which is called the Lady A, and he got down on one knee and proposed to me in front of my parents and my grandparents and asked me to be his wife. And I said, yeah, totally. And so now we're getting married in like 2 seconds. We're not messing around here, you know? We know what we want, so we're just gonna do it. So we're getting married in September, which is crazy, but I'm really excited. And I'm excited to go into this season of my life. I'm excited to step into the challenge and the sanctification of marriage and step into it boldly. And I'm excited to love someone deeply and to be fully known and to know someone fully. And there's definitely still struggles that have come up, like learning how to be open in some ways, learning how to be comfortable in some ways, learning how to communicate in a way that I've never had to before. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big learning curve, and it's good, and I'm sure that the learning curve will just continue. But I feel such a deep peace about it, and everyone in my family and everyone in his family feels that same deep peace. And I think that says a lot. That says a lot. So I will keep you guys in the loop with things. There's going to be a lot of change that's coming. I'm going to be moving out of the little cottage and moving into Marcus's house. He has a couple acres, and he has an organic peach farm, and so I'm gonna live on a peach farm, which is fun and feels very fitting to me. And yeah, so right now we're working on getting his house ready for the wedding, because we're gonna have the wedding there at his house, and so there's gonna be a lot of before and after videos and painting and clearing brush and all sorts of projects in the videos to come. So that's my update. I hope that there's people that relate to this video. If there's other people that have struggled in the area of love or romance or being romantic. I hope that this shows you that you can find someone that really works, even if you're just as awkward with them, because I think that that's how it was for Marcus and I. I still felt just as awkward, and I still was awkward in the same ways, but he was kind and loving and patient and didn't care, and that is what made me feel comfortable. And so I hope that there's people that relate to this video and connect with it and feel like, okay, this is something that can overcome. I'm not just gonna be single forever. And I say that in the sense of I'm not gonna be single forever because of myself stopping it. If I'm single forever and it's out of a place of feeling secure and out of a place of freedom and abundance, then so be it. That's a good life. But if it's being single forever out of a place of being afraid, of being cautious, of closing myself off, of believing this lie of I'm just always single, I'm just awkward in dating, and so it's never gonna happen for me, and that's not a good enough reason to be single. That's not a good enough reason to be stuck. So I think that's all I have to say about that for now. I'm sure I'll have a lot more thoughts on it. But for right now, I think that's plenty for you to chew on. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.